Welcome to our podcast, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Sam Bolton, our UK Life Pensions Consulting Leader. Welcome, Sam.
Hello,
Lovely to
Martina.
see you. And James Maher, my good friend, the EMEIA Life and Pension Sector Leader.
Hi, Martina.
So, James, we're living in a volatile world. What does that mean for the life and pension sector, in your opinion?
Thanks, Martina. Yeah, for sure, we're in a volatile world. And as I say, it feels like we're on a roller coaster. Just the recent past, if we start from COVID forward, we've had the ups and downs. We've had Liberation Day most recently. But actually, the markets are kind of back up again. So when we look at this volatility, in the recent past, it's been volatile, but in all, it's been actually quite positive for the sector. So the sector has been very, very resilient through this noise. I suppose that's good news. So we're resilient today because we've transformed our sector, we've transformed our risk management, and actually the regulations like Solvency too. But again, the shadow that this throws is all that resilience maybe is not meeting the customer needs. So shall we say the world is still volatile, but our life and pensions customers still need protection. And we know the consumer is concerned about volatility. When we take a look at the Insurance Europe 2023 survey, the number one characteristic of a pension that the saver wants is security and safety, ahead of cost, ahead of return characteristics. So how do we lead the customers to the right outcomes?
And Sam, when you look at our clients and the corporate response to this, what are the corporates doing about that?
I think it's a really interesting point in time for us. Both corporates, but also governments and regulators are looking at that key issue of customer confidence. How do we create enough security in the industry and enough trust that customers are happy to invest, take the long term with those with individual firms? What do we need to do to help the broader society understand financial services and how to support their own individual financial health? And so what our clients and the boards are really grappling with is, what does that transformation look like? How do I make sure my operations are fit for purpose, and how do I make sure technology and some of those investments I'm making make sure I'm both more effective at delivering products, but also helping customers through their life stages and the choices that they need to make.
And when we were preparing for the podcast, James, you said something that resonated with me, which is in the UK, Ireland, and even more broadly in Europe, we're very good at saving, and we're probably not so good at investing. I'd love you to share a bit more about that and the impacts that has for the industry.
It encapsulates actually the whole conversation. So as Europeans, we save about 3 times the rate of the average American. So we're good savers. We have the discipline to put money away. But the question is, well, what do we put it into? And we variously are putting it into deposits, into low-risk unit-linked funds, so products that are designed for accessing risk assets, but we actually put them into lower risk rated assets. And a still strong, shall we say, penetration or sort of coverage of participating in hybrid products in the marketplace. So we still have that focus on lower risk products. So when we look after costs, after inflation, no product set is actually giving a positive net return. And in that, we have to pivot to, how do I secure income in the future, which means we really need to be in real assets with real after cost, after inflation returns.
Returns.
That's exactly it, better returns. So in Europe, we've got the retail investment strategy, we have the savings and investment union, which is trying to unlock those assets trapped in lower risk assets, because in the same ways it doesn't serve the customer, it actually doesn't serve society. There is actually a need for investment in our industries, investment in our infrastructure. So there's a deal to be done here between the private and the public sector, between the investor and the investee.
We have Consumer Duty in the UK. Will that seek to address some of this confidence issue of customers wanting to invest?
I think it does. I think the principle of the Consumer Duty is the right one, putting customers at the heart of product development and making sure that that it's heart of when we review products that we've already got in place. I think part of the challenge is, is it a regulatory journey based more on compliance rather than making sure that the client is, the customer is enlightened and at the heart of everything that the firms look to do. Boards are grappling with how do we both square the requirements of the duty and putting customers at the heart of everything that they do, but also looking for that inspiration of where, what do those new products need to look like? We find that as a global challenge, we're not saving enough for retirement. So how do you make sure that those products are designed effectively and being brought to market with some of the latest sets of technologies that make it easier for people to start to engage with?
What are customers who are investing in the lower risk products, what can they expect from the industry in terms of the fee?
One of the things that boards and our clients are having to focus on is how do I make sure that I can support and provide those capital light products in a way that is most effective. And that's what in effect is driving a lot of that transformation agenda and the investment in technology as firms look to be able to create a product and a cost base which is commensurate with the return and the value that the customer gets. That said, one of the big challenges we have in the UK with the life and pension sector is actually we have a huge swathe of old closed books which are historically very expensive to administer. So we need to be able to balance making sure that we are able to deliver service to those customers at the right price point, but also be able to launch new products and take inspiration from other geographies.
The industry, is it appealing to new entrants in the, because I guess we're managing trillions of assets, right? So.
We are. So again, when we look at sort of the continental European marketplace, it's got the best part of 7 trillion euros worth of assets under management, between traditional and unit-linked product, and sort of the net premium income is in that 600 to 700 billion euros per annum. So, and that's growing. What's been very interesting in the last 2 years or so has actually been not so much new entrants, but a return of interest in the sector by those larger global composite companies who perhaps had a more jaundiced view of the sector, especially when we had a low interest rate environment or a negative interest rate environment. So what I would say is a return of the giants, and in particular those companies who have access to, shall we say, asset management capability. And that capability, it's both a cost play as well as access to types of assets and asset strategies. So, and then when we take a look at the retail strategies of the banks with their significant customer focus, building out that product chassis, so they can serve more of the customer needs. They can protect outflow of deposits, but into near space insurance products. So we can see the resurgence of the bank assurance model over the near term. And then there will be new entrants. Those new entrants will be and are capital light, and they live in that sort of hybrid world between asset management technology. So what I would say is, there's the return of the big player, there's the return of the bank assurer, there will be the advent of the new players, but I still think there's more to be done to take some of those sort of legacy players and put them into a newer structure or newer guise with better cost and better capability. So the sector has plenty of tailwinds, but it's reshaping as we speak.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. I'm really looking forward to being able to publish the Customer Unlocking Value Playbook that you've been working on to go alongside this podcast.
Martina, thank you very, very much. It's been great.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.